Hello, everybody. You are in role play today, and this is with the Zoom room. If you ever want to get into the Zoom room, just reach out to me, and you can also find it on my website, lauravward.com. So if you want to take any classes, look on there. You'll see my schedule. You can sign up and all that exciting stuff. And we're going to play with motor babbling today. Motor babbling. Yeah. Well, okay. So we're going to start with this idea that I just discovered, and it's called motor babbling. And the idea behind, so I've been doing this. I've been actually editing some podcast stuff for my friend, not that podcast as it's all done. I am editing the transcription. And my friend has this non-dual podcast, and it's called Deconstructing Yourself. And he's talking with this guy called Thomas Metzinger, who is a neuroscientist, I think, a philosopher, all sorts of things, a meditator. And they're talking about sensing our bodies and how we tune into sensing our bodies. Hey, Susan. Hey, Jamie. I'm just going to mute everyone. And you don't need to do it because I just did it for you. So the idea is that motor babbling is what infants do. The idea has come from development of children or babies, they're like, it's like babbling with words, but this is movement babbling. And as we do motor babbling, we form a concept of our bodies, and then we learn how to move more and more. So the motor babbling is super important for humans to do. Now they've decided that they can also, this is how robots learn. So they give a robot a task, and the robot kind of repeats the task over and over, and eventually they get it. Where you think of the baby and the Cheerio, right? Baby zeroing in on the Cheerio. And I have to say, I saw this, my niece did this when she was a little baby. We were in the Caribbean, there were Cheerios all over the floor, and she did it with her mouth. So she zeroed in with her mouth down to the floor and then came back up with the Cheerio. And she was like, she was within the crawling stage of being a baby. So this idea, hey, Westlin, this idea of motor babbling is just this little movement that is not perfect. So what I want is to sort of reverse our system of learning and go back to this idea of coming in with motor babbling. Like, what are the little tiny movements? Like, we take off all of our intelligence about movement, just strip away everything you've learned about how to move. And we're going to just play with how do we start to find those little babblings. So before we get down onto the ground, let's just tune into being in our own bodies for a couple of breaths, or you can do this on the ground. If you've already gotten down, that's totally fine. But if you are up for just bringing yourselves in, because obviously I'm very caffeinated and hyper right now, this will be more effective if I can calm myself a little bit. So what we can do is just close our eyes for a minute, take one hand on the chest, one hand on the belly. You could also leave your eyes open. And just come into where you are in your body right now. What sensations are there? What feelings? Without the need to change anything. You're just coming in to sort of receive yourself, to feel yourself in this moment right now as is. So just tracking into where you are, what you feel like. And then from that place, I want you to just imagine your mental image and mental sensation image of what your body is. So, and if you can do this in the most loving, kind manner, so we're not going, oh, my butt is this, or my hips are that, or my boobs are this. We're more like going, oh, this is the sort of shape of my body. So imagining this. Maybe you can feel the sensation of having a shape of your body. So for the people just coming in, we're playing with this idea of motor babbling, like small movements of how we learn, thinking of it like babbling language, but this is body movement. And now whatever image you have of yourself, imagine that image like a child has drawn that image. So you're going to take away all the sort of detail and nuance, unless it's a very talented child, it's going to be pretty globby. I know I've recently seen on Instagram a picture that somebody took all their children's drawings and made them look kind of like the real thing. So it's the shape of a child drawn duck, but then it's got like a real duck head. And like this is a great thing if you can find it. I'll repost it if I see it again on my Instagram. Anyway, so take your imagination of your body and make it into a child's drawing of your body. And if it's possible to like take all of this with a sense of humor and a sense of play in your body. So it's not any kind of, oh, that's such a shitty drawing. Oh, I can't believe you did that. Oh, or your body. Oh, look at that. But it's like, wow, look at this amazing thing. Your child's drawing of a body. And I don't mean your child's drawing of your body. I mean your inner child's drawing of your body. And if you can, start to kind of color that drawing in with your favorite colors. So color it in a way that feels like, oh yeah, yellow. I love yellow. I'm going to have yellow feet. Or hot pink. I'm going to have a hot pink hair. How unnatural, whatever. Sorry to make it real and about me, but just take it in any way that feels interesting and fun to you, just drawing in your child body. And then you can let your hands start to fall away and imagine your movement. We're going to now start to turn it into this motor babbling, just fitting perfectly into that child's drawing of a body. So it's completely imperfect. It's like you're taking away all your intelligence of how to move that you've learned, and you're just moving as sort of rudimentally pure movement. And let's at this point take it onto the floor if you're ready for that. So you can do this from a laying down position. And imagining, I know I said on the other day that like you've just come into your body as an alien and you're seeing what it can do. Now imagine that you just come into your body as a baby alien who doesn't know how to move its baby body or a human body, and you're discovering, how do things move? How does it function? But you're not discovering it in some kind of thinking way. You're simply exploring with the parts of your body that can explore, which is all of your body. So you can explore sensation of what you feel around yourself or how it is inside yourself, but allowing yourself to come in so you have complete, total permission to move in any way that is interesting. So think of it like, this is fascinating. Where have I landed? What is this? Which are great inquiry, just this question of what is this? And if you find that you get into sort of repetitive patterning, try slowing something down or speeding it up. Allowing your alien baby to motor babble, whatever kind of interesting stuff is coming out. And if that is too, I'm going to give you one more image, which is much more adult and mature. And that is the image that you don't know how to play an instrument, but you're learning how to play an instrument. So maybe you're learning how to play like a super three-dimensional piano that's all around you, and you're just letting yourself play, or maybe it's an organ, or maybe one of those guys on the street who has like a drum under one foot and they're shaking bells on their hand and they're playing a guitar with something else. So it could be that you're just conducting or playing this big orchestra, but giving yourself total permission to be awkward and to be weird in the motor babble, just letting it come out in this realm of sort of wonder and discovery. You can also sort of imagine that voluntary movement isn't even there. Like the movement you're doing is almost like involuntary. It's just nerve signals popping out into different areas as this awareness comes online. awareness of sensation, awareness of movement, awareness of form. But it's not clear. It's still very much even maybe a erased child's drawing. So there's only outlines there, but you're in that place of being able to play. So I'm going to just throw in some extra ingredients for the adults. And we could think like core distal, center to periphery. Like, what is that exploration? And if we're playing with core distal, we could also play with how big can we get? How expansive can we find ourselves? And also, how tiny can we get? How much can we pull in? So how can we radiate outward and then come back to ourselves? So there's this sort of natural growing and shrinking going on, which maybe you've noticed that you're breathing and that there's movement of breath happening. So feeling what that feels like, to connect into the breath in this exploration. We've got cat babbling as well. That's Lord Gaylord has made an appearance, looking like he might want to jump up in front of the computer at any given time. So we also have this sort of relationship of our head to our tail. So the spinal movement, we've got a torso with a spine inside. And how can that move? What's possible there? From our head to our tail, we could imagine that we have a big bushy tail behind us or underneath us. And we've got this system of movement through the tail to the head. If I move one part of it, it's going to maybe affect the rest of it. So feeling into that, motor babbling your way through spinal mobility. Which ways can it turn? How can it move? Can you locomote even on the floor by just moving your spine? And also, as we're noticing that we have these body parts, maybe we're noticing sort of our connection to the ground and the up and downness of the gravitational pull of the earth. So motor babbling your way into the experience of gravity. If you go slowly, maybe you can feel yourself pouring from the inside, the water in your body pouring around. So as for me, my motor babbling, as I tuned into this idea of being fluid, of being made of fluid, my motor babbling changed a lot. It became less sort of nervous system-y and more liquid. So you can do it in whatever way feels interesting to you. And maybe totally different ideas are coming up for you as you're in the babble. And maybe really slow feels good, or maybe quick feels good, but playing with your sense of time. How do you understand time when you move slower? And how do you understand time when you move quicker? So maybe this motor babbling can even change our perceptions of time. And let me just say that if any time you start to feel like, oh my God, this is too weird, just lay there. Maybe put me on mute so you can just be in your own experience for a while. Or alternately, you could get up and walk around. That's a very human, normal thing to do. Yeah, imagining that you don't have any prior knowledge to how it's possible to move. So it's all a learning experience. It's all total plastic, like the plasticity of the brain, the plasticity of the body. There is no program written already in this body or in this book. There's no story. You're just moving around through it. Maybe you even have a cat. If you have a four-legged creature that might teach you how to move, try not to follow it, or try to follow it. One more thing to plug in there is to imagine that, like, you're not fighting with gravity, you're not fighting with the floor, you're partnering with it, you're learning from it. It's funny, like I'm noticing here, I've been on my knees for a long time and they're not bothering me at all. It doesn't right now. If you need padding, if you need anything, feel free to use it. But it's interesting when we create different relationships in our bodies, sort of different things are possible. And this certainly is not an attempt to make it like, I don't know, listen into your body is what I'm saying. I just found that really interesting that my knees were not unhappy at all as I was there on my knees. Not that that's a goal for anyone, but it's interesting to me because they have been hurting me lately. So with this different version of my body, it's different. Yeah, inviting the new by kind of clearing the slate of the old, inviting in different possibilities by letting go of what was. And you can just imagine like an eraser, since we're working with all this child imagery, imagine all the stories of who you are written up on a chalkboard and just erase it. And then you're like, I don't know. Who am I? What's going on here? How is it to be here in this moment? What am I perceiving if I take away all the stories? Yeah, I'm like creaking all over this floor. So there's another perception, the sound. The floor is moving with me. So I think I would like to add some sounds to this. Since you're muted, you could all add any sounds you like, but I'm going to work with like ha's and sh's, like shh, ah. Anytime we add that sort of vocal sound, could even be like a sigh, we have to breathe kind of more. We got to breathe more to make sound. So we can let go of things through that sound. So these, whatever little holding patterns might be in there. And they could be tension holding patterns. They could be, the fascia has already formed to hold you that way. Giving yourself in your motor babbling. I want to call it neurobabbling also, like letting your nervous system unwind so that the neurons in your body can renegotiate possibility. It doesn't have to sound good. It could just feel good. If I was in a room with a bunch of people and we were all making that sound in the same room, not a Zoom room, then there would be like a whole soundtrack score, a sound score for movement. How is everyone doing? I see a lot of cool movement out there in TV land. Some people, yeah, people with children. Look at how lucky you are. You've got the players. You've got the players playing. Every once in a while, come into a moment of stillness, just so you can sense. I want to say those sort of trace forms of the movement that you've been going through. But in a sense, you can also allow that movement to process through your body. Throwing in moments of stillness, and you could be even thrown in when you're in a position. Like, it doesn't have to be, okay, I'm now still in my shavasana, I'm going to have a stillness moment. It could be, what does it feel like if I pause in a shape? What does that feel like? Listening in for the next impulse to move again. And as you're in this exploration, the question that you might just ask yourself is there anything that I can let go of? Is there anything that would be wise, compassionate, and skillful to release, to let go of? So it can just soften and melt away. And also, if we are letting go of things, if changes are happening, we want those changes to happen sort of smoothly and slowly through our life. Not with huge, like, seismic shifts, but gentle, easy, friendly. Well, it doesn't often happen that way, but if we can come into relationship with ourselves and with our environments that feel nourishing. And a great way to do that is to just keep checking in with our nervous system. Like, am I feeling amped up? Or am I calming down here? Am I feeling like, sometimes it's nice to be amped up? Like, it's fun to go to an amusement park, but do I want to live there? Like, so just depending on maybe your job, the people you're around, it could be even be your family, it could be whatever it is. Are there things that amp you up in your nervous system? And are there ways, like, so there are ways of softening down. This is one of them. But can we develop little quick habits of going, oh, I could just feel my feet on the ground and breathe with this, or I can just come into myself for a little while before I go and respond to something. Just noticing your own awareness, noticing your own nervous system and how you're feeling, what state you're in when you're in the world, when you're doing things. And I mean, we're seeing things all the time, whether it's on our phones or in the movies or just outside as we're walking in the street or as we're driving along. So much information is coming in and affecting us. So yeah, let's come back to this idea of motor babbling. And maybe letting the motor babble be really sort of distal on the edges, like the toes and the fingers, or even the face, your nose, your ears, your head. Giving yourself complete freedom to play with that. And when the question arises, like this inquiry question of what is this, there's not really an answer to that. Or there might, I don't know, maybe there is, but it's more of a sensation. Like if we can tune into what is this and not come to our brain and go, okay, it's this, that, and this, but come into our bodies and go, oh, I'm feeling this, I'm sensing that. Ah, I can relax into this. Just tuning into the sensation from your body and the awareness from your body. Inviting in your own presence, your own participation with your life. I think one of the things that I find the most compelling about the idea of motor babbling is that, like, we kind of say that babbling, it doesn't have a whole lot of meaning, but really it's creating so much meaning, right? We're learning. Babbling is the learning. So allowing yourself new motor babbling, new learning. And then the other thing, as you guys know, like, I love words. So the babbling brook. So like the motor babbling brook of your body. What's happening in the motor babbling brook? I want to share music for just for a few minutes. And let's see what I got. We're going to go with some ambient fields. So just letting the music inform your movement. Popping it in so you can actually hear it. How's the volume on that? Thumbs up, thumbs down. Good? Okay. Thanks. Motor babbling brook. bringing that into a close and just giving yourself a minute to come back to yourself. Oh, baby on screen. Oh, he's learned how to press buttons and turn things off. Oh, how cute. All right, I am going to stop recording and we are going to come in. If you've made it through this class and you are an online person, please like and subscribe. Advertisement is over.